Hello my scrappy friends and welcome to my channel today. I don't think that this is my very last post for the year, however this is my last post for Cut to You for this year. I am using this very fun Traveler's Notebook 2019 Best Yet cut file, and these I've actually done a back and front of a page in my 2018 December daily album. So that was the front, this is the back. And I have a little bit of a silhouette tutorial for you. So firstly, I am dragging that cut file straight into my Cameo software using the trace feature, and I only want the 2019, so I'm tracing that and then deleting the rest of the cut file. I'm going to copy the cut file because I know I want the back and the front, and I want them to be exactly the same size. Just checking what size that is, making it a little bit bigger. Now, what you see me cut here does change, and I will explain that as we get there, but I've just copied that. I'm going to rotate that on the vertical, and I'm going to work on one. So I've done a right click, release compound path. I'm going to go through and delete all of the internal numbers here, and then I am going to move that out of the way. I forgot that I need to make compound path again with that little triangle bit. So I'm going to select it all, right click, make compound path, and this file is ready for me to add my photo to. I had already edited this photo and had edited it to the correct size, so all I had to do was drag it straight into my silhouette software and drop it into that cut file. You can see it's fitted in there, and I really like how that looks, something different. Going to move this second copy out of the way, and because I've got this photo, I want to print that before I cut it. So I'm going to go into my registration marks, turn on the registration marks, and then I'm going to go into my page size because I will be working on A4 paper for this, and change that to A4. It is really important that you remember to change the paper size here because you are going to be printing it, and I didn't want to confuse my printer. I don't think that it would, but just in case. So the important thing with registration marks is to make sure that all of the bits that you want to print and cut are on the inside of that red line, and also so they're not overlapping where the grey shaded area is. When this prints, it's going to print with the black square in the top corner and the two little L shapes in the other two corners. Sending this through to my Cameo now. And the other thing to bear in mind is that when you send it through to your Cameo, make sure that your paper is exactly where it shows on the screen, as in on the mat as well, so that it cuts in the right place. Firstly, the machine will go and read the registration marks so that it knows exactly where to cut, and it will cut around the shape. This is not the first time I've tried this voiceover, and I'm running out of time. So I'm going to apologise right now. If you can hear that, that is the fire helicopters. I think their path is straight over my house. We have some fires nearby. We are perfectly safe. But yeah, like I said, I think the helicopter path is straight over. We have a quiet patch and I start to do the voiceover and then they start again. So I'm really sorry if you can hear that, but I really need to get this voiceover done. If it's annoying, just mute the sound. Okay, so I have printed and now cut that photo. I'm now working on the second copy of that cut file. One I'm going to cut as an outline and the other I'm going to cut as the internal pieces. So what I've done is I have copied it, I have right clicked, release compound path, deleted the internal numbers, and then I have done, deleted the internal numbers and then did an internal offset so that it cut the inside pieces for me on that wood grain paper. Here are all my pieces, and this is, in a minute you'll see where I screwed up. All I'm doing is basically making a sandwich. I'm using the outline, I'm going to stick the inside, the wood grain paper to outline, and then I'm going to stick the photo to the back of this wood grain paper here. Now, when I sent this photo to my printer, when I was double checking the settings, by default I hit the photo printing print to edges selection, which if you have printed photos at home, you know that I'm pretty sure it's standard that the photo will print a little bit bigger to fit the page, which is exactly what's happened here. It took me quite a while to work that out. I'm like, why is this not fitting? What have I done? Oh my goodness. I'm getting frustrated. I take it off. I put it on. I'm like, maybe I'm not lining it up straight. I'm like, no, I'm lining it up straight. Then I've got glue on the front, and then I got glue everywhere. And so I got incredibly frustrated. I went back to my Cameo, and I started from scratch thinking that maybe I had accidentally knocked it and made it bigger or something, and then when I went to print it, I went, oh, I know exactly what you've done. So you will see that this has changed. I'm going to show you the new pieces. So this is the new one, all put together. I decided that I wanted the front to look like a photo and the back to read properly as the 2019. So I've done the exact same thing that I did before, but I have obviously flipped the pieces the other way. And I've used a different pattern paper on the back. So I'm going to do a little bit of embellishing to the front. I am just using stuff from my December daily kit from last year, and here comes another helicopter. With the way that I have positioned those letters, part of the back was hanging over the edge, so I just used my EK Success powder tool to remove the adhesive. I'm so sorry. I think that one was literally right over my house. So what I've got here is some pattern paper that I've used a punch, and I've stamped 31 on as it's the 31st of December, just using some gold ink. I'm going to stick that up there. I don't do a lot of embellishing on here. It doesn't really need a lot, and I don't really want to cover up too much. I'm going to add in some glitter enamel shapes. I'm very, very happy to report that I use all of these up. I'm so excited. I'm going to test on the one that's going in the bin. My pens, I wasn't sure if I could get away with using a white pen, or if I was going to use black pen straight onto the photo, or if I was going to use some paper. So I've got this little notebook that was part of my kit from last year, and I'm just going to use that to do my journaling. I'm just going to cut it to the right size to fit that corner. And then I'm going to use my scissors and my craft knife to cut it down to the right size. And I did mess up a little bit again, but that's okay. You can't even tell in the long run, so it's all good. Adding my adhesive directly to the photo rather than to the paper. And I'm going to stick that down using my glass mat as a guide for what is kind of straight. I come in with the scissors, like I said, and I don't make you watch me cut the inside or do the journaling, but I do cut this, use my craft knife to cut the inside of the 9, and then I do my journaling, and I'm like, and then I realized I hadn't punched my holes, and I was like, oh man, let's see how bad this is. So it basically, you can't read my journaling particularly well. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to have to do that again. I rewrote my journaling on a scrap piece of paper. I recut this paper, redo my journaling. It's all good. No one would ever know. Going to do a tiny bit of embellishing down the bottom here. Firstly with that orange heart. I'm going to bring in some stamping. Stamps are from a Chamel Christmas kit, I believe. I don't even know what year. I've been getting them for a few years now. I didn't get it this year because as much as I love it, it's very similar to ones that I've already got, so I gave it a miss. I'm just stamping in New Year's Eve, and I'm just using that same gold ink. This is an Ali Edwards gold ink. I really like it. I'm using it in this year's December daily, which is coming together nicely. I will have a video update for you there soon, hopefully. So that's all stamped. I'm going to add in my glitter orange enamel heart. Cover up the bits I don't want to get gold splatter on. The gold splatters dry really fine on this paper. Doesn't do anything strange that I've noticed, so I'm quite happy for it to go onto the photo. Just adding in a few little splatters, then up the top as well. I'm going to pop that aside to dry, I think. Give you a little bit of a close-up of that. And then pop that aside to dry. So this is the next day, I think, and I'm just working on the back of this page. This is really super simple. I add those foam thickers. I add in a tiny bit of journaling. I think it says, and the fun new adventures of the new year, or something to that effect. I'm going to add that final orange enamel shape. Take that in there. And I think I add gold splatters. Get rid of that adhesive. Gold splatters. And here comes another helicopter. I'm so sorry. And I add gold splatters, I think, all over the whole back. But the further away from the embellishment, the finer the splatters are. A video close-up and then into the stills. So this was super fun. I really like that I've included something that is, I really like including things that are outside of the page protector, and I really like that this is a different shape, something fun for the last day of the year. So yeah, here are the close-ups. I hope that you've enjoyed this share. I hope that you are not cooking too much in this heat if you are here in Australia. Likewise, if you are somewhere where it is cold, I hope you're managing to stay warm. If you have any questions, please make sure you leave them below. I will make sure I leave links to the cut files and to the shop in the description box below. As always, thank you ever so much for stopping by. I really do appreciate it. And I will be back again very soon with some more shares. Thanks for stopping by.